Hello, a lot of things to go over this weekend, but I'm really going to start with QQQ and SPY, and I'll keep it as quick as I can because I'm sure if you've watched any videos this weekend from any of the people you respect, they've already talked about this. But we essentially had, um, this gap down on the DeepSeek news, and then a slow rally, and then a gap down on Trump tariff news and a slow rally, and then once again on Friday we moved down, and both those times it was setting a lower high. So we got a lower high here and another lower high here, and then we're moving down. Are we going to gap down? I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. It was news over the weekend that drove this. It was the tariff news that Trump started talking about on the end of the day this Friday, and then it gapped down. There was no actual news that drove this thing down. It was just the correct technical level, I think, to push it down. QQQ did the same thing. And you see here, I've drawn this value, this fixed range volume profile box on here, because I'm basically looking at this as like balance. We're just in this big area of balance. We reached the top of the range. And actually on the morning, I tried to take a short right here, but I was trying to do it with a put option, which I've never done before. So it was going to be my first one ever. And as I was trying to figure out the form, some news came out and it dumped. And I was like, oh my God, I missed it by like literally 30 seconds. Anyway, he who hesitates. So that's really what we're looking at. The big question is, are we going to set a daily higher low, or are we just going to go back down and continue in this balance range? It seems like everybody that I listen to is they all say they don't really have a sense for which direction it's going to go. But I think people are thinking that because the Bears just can't seem to take control, you have to favor the Bulls because they've been in control this entire time. And we're essentially holding, like, as of Friday, we're holding about the 50-day moving average. That's this teal blue line here. And if you look at the 5-day, it's just a chop fest around the 5-day moving average. So that's just a, don't get too stuck in one direction bias signal. So I look at this and I'm thinking, either we do this where we set a daily higher low above this low here and then continue up, or we do something like this instead, where we actually just come all the way back down to the bottom of range again. We'll see if we got a gap down on Monday, you'd got to wonder, is it actually going to push through this time, or is it going to do exactly what it did and slowly have another week of slowly crawling up? Or are we going to do something like this, where we turn this around very quickly and come back and test the high? So that would be a daily high or low. But then do the Bulls actually have what they needed to get in all of this to make that move have follow through, or is that going to reject? Because if it rejects, we are absolutely going to go test the lows of that range again. And so that to me is like, it's just a hairy situation, and there's no real way of knowing. You just got to be on your toes and ready for quick flips if that happens. This would be like the most killer short ever if we moved up, failed, and then like broke this high here, did not have follow through, and then came back down. That would be a trade I would definitely want to get short on, because I do have longer term positions that I want to try to protect. So that's when I'm looking at this, I'm not thinking about day trades. I'm thinking about, okay, if the market is going to make a move that's not up, I need to protect against that. And so I'm watching for either on this coming week, we actually just come down, test the lows, and do something like this, actually, where we test the lows, get a little bounce, and then go right back down through, right? And likewise, if we break these lows and we hit some of these areas of balance that I've called out, or hit the carry trade unwind, this was the August 5th dip when there was that carry trade unwind that happened where the whole market tanked. I put this AVWAP on the chart for that, and I would want to see what price does when it gets there. We also then have the 200-day moving average, which has served as support for one test here, two tests here, and maybe we'd get a third test over here. So you got to see what happens down there. But those would obviously be places to think about managing a trade if you did manage to get short somewhere up here. So, there's a lot of things to think about in every direction, but mostly I'm just trying to think about down as protection against longer term longs, right? So, enough about that. Some more stuff to talk about. I got to say, like, why is QQQ trading like this? Well, let's take a quick look at the Mag 7. And Apple looks like garbage. It hit daily oversold, got this decent bounce going, retraced 50% of the move as of this day, and now it's coming back down again. And so is it going to hold the 200? Is it going to go down? Who knows? But either way, that's a daily downtrend. And if we put this indicator on, let's just see, is it a weekly downtrend? So 1 week. Yeah, weekly downtrend right now. So looking for a weekly lower low. It's a weekly inside bar from last week. We'll see which way that breaks. But if it breaks down, we're looking for a weekly lower low. Not a great look for the stock. Now on the monthly, we're just scouting a monthly higher low still. This could be a monthly higher low that was already set. We'll see if it can hold. So this is obviously a key level. Potential monthly higher low. Right there, and then I like to go back and look at it on the daily. Where is that? Oh yeah, it's just this bottom right here. So we'll see. Does that hold? If it doesn't hold, monthly downtrend. No, not monthly downtrend. If it doesn't hold, we're still scouting the monthly higher low, because it just means that we'll have to be looking for one above this one here. This was the last official monthly higher low, because then this other one that looks like it's forming has not been confirmed yet. So monthly uptrend looks great. We're still holding that monthly EMA 12 as of right now, but we'll see. We'll see what this means for Apple. Anyway, Meta is like probably definitely the most bullish name in the Mag 7. It just keeps pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. But you'll notice it keeps doing this thing on the mornings where it does this sharp move up, like here, rally off the open. I don't know why my drawing tool is not letting me grab it. So rally off the open. That was a good one. Here, rally off the open, down all day. This one rallied and then held. Rallied, held. Rally, down. Rally, down. Rally, down. Another afternoon rally, down. So it's doing these, like, it's causing all these wicks, right? And I've been playing these upside moves because if you look at this on the with the DeMark signals on, we're basically an upside 9er. We already got that. Now we're upside 13. Like, there's no rules that state that this thing has to stop going up, but everybody who looks at these kinds of signals is aware that it's getting toppy. And you can see here on the MACD, the moving averages have started to curl over just the slightest amount. And typically, one thing I look at on the MACD is when you see this turn happen, where it goes from bullish signal to bearish signal on these, basically it means that the distance between the top MA and the bottom MA is smaller on this bar than it was on this bar. As soon as you see that flip, that's your first signal. You got to start thinking that the cross is going to come. So the cross hasn't happened yet, but you can see here was the first signal that the cross was going to come on back here. It went a little bit higher. You even got one where the MAs were a little bit larger on this move up, and then it was down again. So this was your signal on the MACD as of this day that, like, we're going to get the cross, and then the cross happened over here. But if you're trading based on the cross, you're too late. That's how MACD traders kind of do it. So over here on this day, this would be your day where you're like, okay, I got to find a way to get short. Then you get a move down for a potential daily higher low, and then you're not able to get a daily higher high. So up here, trading against the high of here would be a great short. That's how MACD traders do it. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, ooh, we're looking for that sort of a pattern. It doesn't need to just collapse. It might collapse, but if we're lucky, we'll get a pattern like that. Or you can do what I've been doing, which is anytime you get those spikes on the morning where it moves up, 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 look for an exhaustion pattern. So I go to like the 1 minute time frame. This is what I was doing in Meta on Friday. And yeah, I'm going to put on a different indicator, but let me get rid of some of this stuff so I can show you. Get rid of this. So got get rid of that. So we didn't know where it was going to top out, but it starts moving up, 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 up. And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, what MA is this riding? It was faster than a 1 minute MA rider. It was probably 30-second. Let me just pull this to here. I'll put this in the 30-second chart. Yeah, so this was a 30-second MA rider, and I'm looking even here. Look at these wicks up. Every time it was making, when this is happening, when I'm expecting that it's going to top and then come pull in. What I'm doing is I'm watching for these spikes up, and then you see I've got this indicator here that shows me when you're 1 ATR of a move. So I'm looking for a spike up above a previous high that is beyond 1 ATR, and as soon as I see that, I take a short. Like here, this candle would have been a short for me. I would have gotten in as soon as it broke that high because we were 1 ATR up. We opened here, we pushed up. Probably we were above 1 ATR. I took a short, and my risk is really, really small. I'm really not giving it any wiggle room at all. And I also do this with pretty small size because I want to be able to have multiple attempts in case I screw this up, in case it just like for whatever reason just goes flying. And especially with Meta, one of the problems with Meta is that it's got a really wide spread. I don't know why it has such low liquidity when it's such a highly traded stock, but it when you hit a stop, it market fills your stop, and if the stock has punched higher, your fill can be terrible. So you have to use smaller size on this. And what I found is that if you have a stop hit, which I've had them hit a few times in the last week, it's really bad. And it's, if you just going like, because you got to try this a few times, right? So it moves up, you take a short. As soon as it gets down maybe 2 times your risk that you put on, you sell half, and then you hold on and you see what happens. Because if it stops you out and you've sold half of your position at double the amount of risk of the profit, then even if it does do that thing where the market fill is bad, you'll still probably end up flat or a little bit of money saved. So here this held on that move, and here it was going up. Like what I'm really looking for is I want to see it lose this moving average. If it comes back down and it doesn't lose the moving average, I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to stop out. But I still give it the room. What happens? Held the moving average, losing the moving average, giving me some hope. And I think on this one I took a little bit of profit there. And then up it goes and stops you out. And again, just because this is what's hard about trading is like, it's gonna stop you out a few times, right? You got to keep trying because you're up on a daily time frame. It makes sense. Like this thing needs to rest at some point. It's got to come in. And so as showing you exhaustion at these levels, when it has those wicks in the daily and you see it spikes up and comes down, right? So you're like, the odds are good that it's going to go back through where it opened, right? You're looking for it to get all the way back down through the opening print. And so when it pushes higher again, you got to try again. So I try again, tight stop. Risk free. Does it work? Almost stopped me out there. And then when it comes to where to put that stop, I'm looking at the actual dollar price. If it's near a round dollar number, I want to put it significantly above the round dollar number, because these names have a tendency they don't stop at the round dollar. They'll like push through it and then fail. And so even that's ideal. Like if it's pushing up to 725, for example, I'm going to try to wait for 725 to break before I try that short. And you can see here, what was the high? 724.26. Didn't get it, but did get above 724. So anyway, then it ended up working. I didn't get this trade. I think I gave up after too many attempts, and I was basically flat on it. But what a banger it would have been if I just kept trying. So that's the thing, like it's the broken slot machine concept, where like if you expect that the same thing that's been happening is going to continue to happen, you got to keep trying. You got to be resilient, and you just got to wait for those spots. Okay, so anyway, Meta is like the most bullish chart that we're looking at here in the Mag 7. Let's look at the rest. Amazon. Let me put this back to my swing trade indicator. Amazon had earnings and moved down, so not looking great. This is essentially a daily downtrend now because you had a high, low, lower high, and now we're setting a lower low. So that's not good. Tesla real consolidation, and like well earned consolidation considering this insane move that it had. It's like this thing needs to come back in and like set a higher low. I'm Charting Dan Man from Chart Guys mentioned it on his video. Daily oversold is definitely something to look for. You should add an alert for daily oversold on Tesla. That would be a good spot to set the monthly higher low if you can get it. Microsoft, still range bound, testing the bottom of the range, not looking good. Google, earnings down after all-time highs, straight down, and I put a anchored VWAP here from the last earnings, and we touched that on Friday. It's kind of funny. So are we going to get a bounce here? And if we do, we're just really scouting a daily lower high at this point. And then NVIDIA is in a weekly downtrend. It's so funny. Like, I spent so much time looking at NVIDIA on the daily time frame down here, and I'm not thinking too deeply about the higher time frame. But let's look at it on the monthly. It's scouting a monthly higher low, and it's actually potentially set one right now. But look at all these wicks to the upside, and this kind of looks like, I hate to say it, a head and shoulders. And that's not to say that I think NVIDIA is going to roll over. I don't know what the hell is going to happen with NVIDIA. But I got to say, on the weekly time frame, we are now in a downtrend. High, low, lower high, lower low, scouting a weekly lower high right now. So we'll see. There's a chance that this thing could just run all the way back up to highs. You never know. And if it did that, that would definitely increase the odds that the QQQ consolidation range is going to break bull. But again, the most likely scenario on the weekly time frame is a lower high. So I'm looking at all of this and I'm thinking, okay, well, here it was holding above the 50-day moving average, the teal line, broke down below, tested from below, managed to push through, broke down below again, tried to get above, couldn't do it, broke down, coming back up and testing from below. This just looks like it's going to hit that 50-day and roll over. So that's what I'm thinking about NVIDIA. That's why I've got it marked red on here, because I'm thinking about it for a weekly lower high. So that to me is the explanation of why QQQ is the way it is. So when I think about what I want to trade going into the week, do I want to be trading the Mag 7? The only one I'm really interested in still is Meta short. And now I'm interested in NVIDIA short because of looking for that weekly lower high. And so, those are in the back of my mind. I've got them both here looking for lower highs. And then I've got a lot of things in the bullish column. I want to talk about them. Oxy is one that I know Buffett's been buying, and I've been trying to figure out the right way to get in. I caught a portion of this move at the very beginning, but missed most of this move up, and I've been waiting for that higher low, and I've made a few attempts, gotten risk-free, stopped out, gotten risk-free, stopped out. So I think at this point, we might be looking for a daily higher low. This might be the bottom. And so it's not doing it in an ideal way, in a way that I'm familiar with. And what I really like is a strong uptrend, but this is not that. This is a bottoming pattern, and I'm trying to figure out the right place to get it. And actually, now that I'm looking at this kind of looks like a bearish divergence. Anyway, because we got... No, it's not bearish. It's fine. There was a bullish divergence here on the RSI. And then here we got a higher low compared to that low, and this is also higher RSI, so that's not bad. But yeah, I'm thinking that we got to basically trade against this low. If we can hold above this low and turn this thing around, then we might actually get this thing going again. And so I'm thinking about getting involved here somewhere. I'm not sure exactly how to do it. I don't just want to buy with faith. I want to have a pattern to play. And so there's a few ways to do it. One would be trading, if it breaks the high of Friday on Monday, take a position with a stop below that low and see how it performs. Hopefully you can get risk-free. So that's something that I'm thinking about. It's on the radar. AVGO, I tried to get long this on Friday for the daily higher low because it was coming back in. It almost hit hourly oversold. I got long in here. It moved up. I didn't sell any because I thought that was going to be it, but it didn't. It rolled right back over and continued down after hours. So I stopped out for a small loss there. And that was sad, but I want to see what happens when we come into the week on Monday. Is this thing going to actually go a lot deeper? Because it needs to hold above this daily higher low right here. But I got to say, on Friday, there were no bulls. There were no bulls in this name. everything else, even Q's, when Q's showed strength, it was stronger than AVGO. So I was kind of disappointed with it not playing out. PLTR. Okay, this is another one where if you look with the DeMark indicators on, we're basically upside 13 already. So this thing, like Meta, is basically blue sky. But we just had earnings, and it was a positive reaction to earnings that is very, very strong, and it also broke over the $100 price level. And things tend to go for, I can't remember what Tim from Chart Guys told me. It's some number of days that things tend to continue to move up after they break 100. And so I didn't get long in here. I should have, but most of the earnings that I've seen lately don't do this. They have a nice move up and then they digest for a long time before having a solid push higher. But you can't stop these PLTR bulls. Well, you couldn't until Friday, and then they rolled over. And so at this point, I'm like, what's going to happen? I'm curious. Do we hit hourly oversold? Because one of the things that I've noticed about this name is, let me put on the swing trade and put it over here, put on hourly higher low or daily higher low indicator. So I've got this hourly oversold level marked. And if you go back and look historically, here it hit hourly oversold in pre-market. That was the last time, and that was back here in January. Before that, it hit it here, but this was basically weekly consolidation. So it stayed in hourly oversold conditions during this move down here, right? So that doesn't really count for hourly oversold for daily higher low. That was all part of the consolidation. So where did it do it before? It got close back on this daily higher low that said it got close but never touched hourly oversold. And let's look back a little further. Here it got close, and that was another daily higher low, but it never touched hourly oversold. So this name just has a tendency to not hit hourly oversold, right? And so it looks like a top that might be set here. But I want to see, do we get hourly oversold? Because if we push down through hourly oversold, that's kind of a solid signal to me that this name is exhausted and needs to come in. And I'd be looking for a lower high to short. So something to think about. If it holds above hourly oversold and like holds some of this balance from the earnings reaction, as you can see all this volume over here, right, through all of this stuff, if it holds above that volume, which I'm going to mark on the chart right now, basically goes from here to here. If it holds above there, I want to get long. If it breaks down below, and especially if it pushes through hourly oversold and holds down below, and the worst would be a drift through hourly oversold and holding below, like a flash through. If it comes down hard, you got to try the bounce on a name like this. But if it doesn't, if it slowly drifts down through, that's bad, and I'd be looking for a lower high to short. Okay, Reddit has been super, super strong. I don't get it. I don't know why Reddit is so popular. I don't know how they make their money. It doesn't really matter. Just look at this stock. It's just kind of insane. And also, just like the others, if you put the DeMark indicators on, it is a niner right now. And so probably, I can't say for sure because nobody knows, but we're probably in for some chops sometime soon on this name. But man, hourly oversold really works well on this name. So I've got an alert set for hourly oversold because this one is what I would call an hourly oversold rider. It hits the hourly oversold conditions and it goes. Hits them, goes. So this one, I'm interested if it comes back in, and especially if it has a hard flush, I'd be looking for those hourly oversold conditions on that one for sure. Last but not least, cost. Again, one of those ones where it's a niner on the upside and finally had a bit of pull in on Friday. Worth noting that, like I showed you here, it's the first time that we saw this trigger happen, which can be a sign that it's going to roll over. But I wouldn't bet against it just yet. It's been so strong. And it's another one where I want to see, does it get hourly oversold? And you can see here, this was the last daily higher low, and it didn't touch hourly oversold. So again, I just want to, I always look at the character of the chart to understand, what does this thing do? Does it hit hourly oversold for a daily higher low, or does it not quite get there? Like, try to understand what the thing does before you get involved in a trade. And then know, is this time different than the last few times that it's done it? I will say also about this one that it did set this high here at 1,008, and we pushed through it with gusto after this pull-in. So it would also make sense to come back in and test that level if it's going to continue, right? And so I've got it marked off here. Hourly oversold is well above that. So I want to see what happens at hourly oversold, and then does it hold that level and bounce? So that's it. Those are the ones that I'm watching. The only other one to mention is OKLO, which has been just a banger trader. And I've been trading this every few days when it has a big move up and doing very well. I love names like this, but it's like the last one right now that's moving like this, and everything else is sort of exhausted. I have this hot sector um, list where I have quantum computing, AI names, some semis, drones, robotic stuff, nuclear stuff, which OKLO is in, and it's been moving like crazy. LEU was one that moved this week, but that was just on Friday, yeah. And I didn't trade that one, but yeah, there's less and less of these high flyers doing stuff within the last couple of weeks while we've been going sideways. So that again tells me what does this mean for the market if those high risk names are not pumping like they were or as much as they were. Maybe this consolidation range is actually going to break down instead of breaking up. Who knows? We'll see. But I just want to be prepared on both sides. So anyway, that's what I have to say about the coming week, and I wish you guys good trading.